Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jordan Cameron back with another update video today on our thesis of the biggest blow off top in crypto history, followed by the dot-com bubble 2.0, where everyone will call crypto a scam. What is up, everybody? We have another green day over here. Bitcoin. Take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now pushing 120,000. We got the altcoin market with a little bit of a pullback this morning, but now all starting to turn green. Man, it's fun times in the markets, and we got a lot to talk about today, including our thesis of the biggest blow off top on total market cap up to 10 trillion before a giant rug pull later this year. We're going to talk about everything under the sun. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum. We're going to talk about our stablecoin dominance chart, our global liquidity chart, and some individual altcoins that are showing some life here, and what I expect to be the biggest runners for the rest of this bull market, which I only think is going to be another 2 to 4 months, my friends. I know that sounds crazy. I know it's, starting to feel like this market's going to go up forever. And I just want to remind you that it never does. Okay. It never does. And it's going to feel like it's going to go up forever when this market really starts pushing up here. And now that we have total market cap pushing into new all-time highs, man, you're going to hear talks of super cycle. You're going to hear talks of everyone going absolutely nuts, saying this market's going to go forever. Your uncle's going to start jumping in. Your auntie's going to start jumping in. Your cousin's going to start jumping in. But when they start jumping in, that's when you want to get your canoes out, get your paddles out, and paddle the opposite way of those people. So without further ado, guys, make sure you smack the subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. We got a lot to talk about today. Road to 100K, man, 92,000 subscribers today. And you guys are just absolutely crazy with the support that you guys have been showing on the videos. And I'm glad everyone out there is making money. And you guys held strong during the tariff drama. All right, so let's talk about a few things here as we got some kids outside in the background. Not my kids, guys, by the way. But anyways, let's talk about a few things here. So we just had the daily close, and Bitcoin at 120,000. Man, if we just go back and talk about our thesis of the 50 moving average holding in 2023, Bitcoin going on a massive run, the 50 moving average band holding in 2024, Bitcoin going on a massive run, and down here during the tariff drama, once again, the 50 moving average bands hold again, and good job to you if you were buying the dip or just holding stuff that you've been holding since previous years. And riding Bitcoin up since that point. We got Bitcoin up about 67%, and we got the entire crypto market as a whole from that low up about 70%. So congratulations if that's you, if you held strong during all the tariff stuff when Bitcoin was down here, when we had total market cap at the bottom of our macro rising wedge. And we have a lot to look forward to now. So, as we kind of look at our thesis, and we kind of just have this on a zoomed out kind of broad, basis, and we kind of just look at our macro rising wedge, my friends, we have total market cap at new all-time highs. And this is where the market starts to get crazy. This is where things get totally irrational, and you need to keep your minds, guys. I want to make this video clear today because the market hasn't really moved much since yesterday. And a lot of the stuff that we talked about in yesterday's video is the same that we're going to talk about in today's video. But I want to stress this, guys. The higher this market goes, and when we were down here, we discussed when this total market cap chart starts to break into new all-time highs, the narratives are going to be crazy. People are going to go crazy. And I just really think this move is just starting. As you guys know, I do think we're going to get up to that 10 trillion point, and the narratives that you're going to hear up there are going to be absolutely insane. And I believe it's going to happen faster than most people expect. And we'll go over that of why that is going to be today. And why, you need to keep your head when that does happen. You can't get caught up in the narratives. You can't get caught up in the whole crypto will change the world. You need to believe that when we're at the lows. You need to believe that when we're at the dips. Do not believe that when the market goes parabolic. That's what's going to get you wrecked. All right. So as we kind of go along here, just sort of our base case for anyone that's new, as always, we update that in the video. This is a macro rising wedge, which is a macro bearish pattern. And, if we kind of look at a lot of the things here and, we kind of look at, the 4-year cycle, which we expect that the crypto market will top at the end of 2025, basically anywhere from September to December. I do believe it's going to be quicker. I think we're going to top somewhere in September and October, somewhere in that range. But if you look at that time frame and the top of the rising wedge, and where that 4236 Fibonacci and 10 trillion psychological level, that all meets up right in this zone right here, September, October, November timeframe, right at the 10 trillion point, right at the 4236 Fibonacci level, and right at the top of the rising wedge. Okay. All at the same points. Okay. So I don't think that's a coincidence. And, I don't think that is anything to be afraid of. Now, as we kind of go along here, what's our main reason of why we expect the total cryptocurrency market to go absolutely nuts and continue up in a parabolic fashion, besides looking at price targets, besides looking at Fibonacci levels? Why on the charts? Because here on the channel, we're very chart driven, and we're going to look at it from that perspective. Well, the stablecoin dominance chart continues to move down, my friends, and that has been our base case since the tariff lows. When the tariff lows hit, we were at the top of this 8.8%, the top of the stablecoin dominance range that we've been in since 2023. And from that point, we were expecting it to come all the way back down to the range lows, if not make new lows on the chart. So here we are, stablecoin dominance continues down. We have more room to run to the bottom of the channel. And ultimately, this move down on stablecoin dominance is going to be what gets total market cap up to that 4236 Fibonacci level. And it is an inverse correlation. As total market cap continues up, right? Stablecoin dominance continues down. If we expect stablecoin dominance to move from the top of the range to the bottom, and we see that it has more room to run, we expect that total market cap also has more room to run to the top of the rising wedge. Okay, so that's reason number one. Obviously, reason number two, we have our global liquidity chart on Bitcoin. It continues higher. Bitcoin has followed this since 2023. There's no reason to expect that anything different is going to happen until it does. So I expect Bitcoin to continue to follow global liquidity as it's done since 2023, as it goes up and down on a 2 to 3 month lag. Still expecting Bitcoin to continue to follow this over the next couple months. Where it gets tricky is this did have a sort of a local top here in September. Do we see the top of the crypto market somewhere in late September to October? That's the question, and depends how fast this market moves up. Okay, but now that we have our base case out of the way and why we have the reasons on the charts of global liquidity and stablecoin dominance going lower, I think it's time that we look at a few things, right? We look at a few things and we sort of pinpoint what I think is going to happen. All right, so really, there's a few things that we can look at, my friends. And I think one of the bigger things that I want to point out here is I actually want to bring up the Pi cycle top indicator, if I could. If I do have it on here, I think I have a separate chart with the Pi cycle top indicator here. Let me just bring that up. Here we go, Bitcoin Pi cycle top. If we actually bring that up real quick, what you guys will notice is, if this loads here for your boy, if we actually look here, we have found resistance at basically this green line. Okay, now if you guys know anything about the 4-year cycles, we know that Bitcoin has typically topped when the Pi cycle top indicator has crossed. Okay, what's a little bit different about this current cycle is Bitcoin's moving up in a much slower pace. And you guys can see that the two moving averages are so spread apart still, okay? I mean, we're talking about really how it was in middle of 2020 or even back over here in the middle of 2016. Nowhere near the parabolic move that we saw in 2017, which caused these two moving averages to cross, and nowhere near this 2020 and 2021 parabolic move, which caused these to cross. I think what we're looking at now is typically what we see is this green line is resistance. So what I'm kind of looking at here and what I expect to happen is basically Bitcoin to move up to this green line, which right now is at 176,000. I know that sounds like a big move, guys, but from this point for Bitcoin, that's only about another 50% move. That's not that much in reality. I don't know if Bitcoin has enough juice to make these two moving averages cross. You basically would need Bitcoin to get it back above 176,000 and continue higher than that to get these two moving averages to cross. But my expectation is that we're going to see Bitcoin have a parabolic move up to the top and hit that green 176 level. And that is going to be ultimately what causes this cycle's altcoin season. Okay, now why is that? Because if we go over here to Ethereum, we'll notice as Ethereum has started to rip, guys. And Ethereum, what this previous support that ultimately broke to the downside here and now is reclaimed. That's called a false breakdown. I think what we're seeing right now is that rotation into Ethereum, okay? Ethereum from that March low is currently up about 180%, while Bitcoin from that March low is currently up about 65%. So you've seen almost a 3x move. Basically, ETH has, once again, done about a 2.5x. Bitcoin's done about about a 1.5x. Okay, so you've seen about a 3x multiplier for being an Ethereum over Bitcoin since March, and I think that is what's going to be the Kickstarter for this altcoin season, right? So ultimately, we have ETH starting to move up to about 4K. This is obviously the big resistance. We could see a little bit of resistance here for ETH, a little bit of a cool down, but ultimately, I do believe that this parabolic move here for Bitcoin. Right here up to that 176,000 level is going to be ultimately getting Ethereum to break out into its all-time high. And historically speaking, and this is why I think that the market could top in the next 2 to 4 months, guys. Historically speaking, when you've seen Ethereum break through its previous all-time high, which we haven't done yet, don't get me wrong, we haven't done it yet. We need to do it first. We've seen the market top, within about 3 months, right? So here in February 2021, we saw Ethereum break its all-time high. The cycle topped, in May, right? So about 14 weeks later. If we come over here to the 2017 cycle, I don't really have the sort of thing here, but ultimately the way I'm kind of looking at this is we had this long consolidation here for Ethereum. This was about a 7-month consolidation. We broke that last high. And you saw about basically a 2-month move, about 300%. So the way I'm kind of looking at it is this: that when you break that sort of major highs that Ethereum built up over an extended period of time, you typically see the market top within 2 to 3 months. So the way I'm looking at it is, as soon as we see Ethereum break through these highs, I think we have about 2 to 3 months left in the cycle, which matches up perfectly with our 4-year cycle. And we typically know we get Ethereum breaking into new all-time highs, guys. That is going to set the altcoin market absolutely loose. We've already seen some move up. XRP's in all-time highs. We have Chainlink. I think of the perfect triple higher low setup. CRV with the classic Wyckoff accumulation schematic at the lows. Crow with the classic Wyckoff accumulation at the lows. I think we have a lot of our utility coins, HBAR, XLM, all the utility coins that I think are going to perform the best, which I've been talking about since early this year, are still performing the best, and I think are going to continue to form the best. But it's all going to start with really started initially with Ethereum breaking back above the support level, but really Ethereum breaking into new all-time highs and the altcoin market running, I think is ultimately what's going to make this thesis really start to show its way, right? It's great if Bitcoin's moving up, and I think Bitcoin's going to continue higher. As I said, I'm looking at that 176,000 pi cycle top moving average as the major target here, about 176,000. But I think it's going to be the altcoin market that's really going to get this total market cap chart moving, especially ETH, especially XRP, and especially a lot of these top alts like Cardano and Chainlink, these top American-made utility coins, okay, are really going to get the people saying crypto will change the world, because it's not really until altcoins start to go parabolic that people start to think, oh my God, crypto will change the world. Now, to bring that all back, as everything we just talked about, right? And all the reasons why we think the market's going to go higher. Remember to keep your head, guys, because the higher this market goes, the more people are going to get absolutely delusional, okay? Absolutely delusional. And you need to remember, we said once total market cap breaks into new all-time highs, we are going to look for the euphoria. We are going to look for the signs. And one of our biggest signs is over here, once again, on the Coinbase indicator. Let's refresh it real quick from yesterday. You guys notice is Coinbase is currently at 114, which means I'm not overly worried, okay? Typically when it gets in the top 10 is when you need to start being a little bit worried, but ultimately when it gets into that top 5 and especially that number 1 spot, you got to take a look in the mirror and say, man, I am not alone anymore. Almost everyone's bullish. I cannot be bullish anymore. And until that time frame, I think we still have room to run here on the total crypto market cap. And I believe once we hit that 4236 Fibonacci is when we're going to see Coinbase at the number 1 app on the App Store in the world. Okay. And that is the time where we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, I am selling. I'm definitely not buying. I have to reconsider holding and I need to consider selling. Okay. And ultimately, you should be taking profits on the way up. The same way you DCA'd throughout this whole 2, 3, 4 year period, you need to start taking profits as this market moves higher. Okay. And we're going to continuously talk about that on the channel. Is now that total market cap's into new all-time highs. If you're up significantly on your coins, look at profit taking areas, have your profit taking areas marked out, and be ready and just be mentally ready that you're not going to want to sell when the market's going nuts because you're going to think, what if it goes higher? Remember how you felt when the market goes down, right? In the past. You don't want to feel that way again. So make sure you have your take profits levels marked as this market goes higher. I guarantee you when we get up in the zone up here, there's going to be narratives like you never heard before. Okay. Probably altcoins starting to get used in the real world. It's crazy stuff over the next 6 months. Do not get caught up in this story. Make sure you guys are taking profits. You can always leave a moon bag, but make sure you're happy where you can say any day where if the bear market started, I'm happy today. Okay? Really, that's it. All right. So I think we got higher to go, my friends. I think we got the setups everywhere on almost every single coin. ETH, XRP, Chainlink, CRV, HBAR, Bitcoin. I think we got Crow. I think we got setups almost everywhere. It's time to pay attention. It's time to lock in for these next couple months. And I'll catch up with you guys in the next video, probably on Thursday. Maybe I'll do a live stream on Thursday. If this market's going nuts on tomorrow and Thursday, I'm probably going to hop on for a live stream and we'll talk about it. So it's been your boy Jordan Cameron. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Join the journey of the biggest blow off top in crypto history, followed by the .com bubble 2.0. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.